Hey everyone, VK here, and welcome to the Deep Dive.
It's great to be here.
Today we're diving into the Indian stock market.
Specifically for tomorrow, January 13th, 2025.
So if you're looking for some insights on where to put your money,
You've come to the right place.
I've got my AI co-host Nexa with me.
And she has been crunching through a mountain of financial news all weekend.
So Nexa, what's the buzz? What's got you excited?
Well, let me tell you, things are looking a bit shaky.
Shaky how?
Well, both the NIFTY 50 and the Sensex.
They're the two main Indian stock market indexes, right?
Exactly. They both had their worst week of the year last week.
Oh, wow. So not a good start to the year.
Not exactly. And the NIFTY 50, It even dropped below that crucial 23,500 support level.
So this is something our listeners need to pay attention to.
Absolutely. According to analyst Sumit Bagadia,
Okay.
who's the executive director at Choice Broking,
Choice broking, okay.
he thinks this downward trend
Yeah.
could continue.
So where does he see the Nifty 50 heading?
He thinks it could potentially dip down to the 23,250 to 23,200 range.
So that's a pretty significant drop. How do we play this? What's the strategy here?
Well, even in a volatile market like this, there are always opportunities for savvy investors.
Always.
Yeah.
So what's Bagadia recommending?
He's got a few stock recommendations, stocks that are under 100 euro.
Okay, under euro, so affordable for a wider range of investors. I like it.
Exactly. And he believes that these stocks are poised for a potential upswing.
Interesting. So these are what they call momentum buys,
You've
right?
had it. He's seeing positive trends in their recent performance, which indicates they could potentially continue to grow.
Okay, I'm ready. Give me the picks. What's the first one on Bagadia's list?
All right, first up, we have Lloyd's Engineering Works.
Lloyd's Engineering Works. Okay, tell me more.
Bagadia recommends buying at 83.26.
83.26. Got it.
With a stop loss at 80.
Okay, so limiting the potential downside.
Exactly. And a target price of 90.
So potentially a nice little profit there if it hits that target. But what's the story behind Lloyd's Engineering Works? What makes them a good bet?
Well, they recently secured a major contract in the renewable energy sector.
Okay, so they're tapping into that growing demand for clean energy.
Precisely.
Yeah,
And this contract is expected to significantly boost their earnings.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they've got a good track record, I assume.
They do. They have a solid track record. So all these factors combined, it's likely why Bagadia is so optimistic about their potential for growth.
Makes sense. Okay, what's the next pick on the list?
All right, next up we have NACL Industries.
NACL Industries. Okay, I'm not familiar with them. What do they do?
They're a chemical manufacturing company.
Chemical manufacturing. Okay.
And Bagadia suggests a buy at 68.39.
68.39. All right.
With a stop loss at 65.
Okay.
And a target price of 73.
So again, a decent potential upside there. What's driving their momentum? What's making Bagadia bullish on NACL Industries?
So they've been expanding their product portfolio.
Okay.
And they've been venturing into some high-growth specialty chemicals.
Well, specialty chemicals, okay.
And these are in high demand across a variety of industries.
So they're diversifying, expanding, and capitalizing on those emerging market needs. Smart move.
And it seems to be attracting investor interest.
It makes sense. All right, so we've got 2 picks down, 1 more to go. What's the last stock on Bagadia's list?
His final pick is Jane Irrigation Systems.
Jane Irrigation Systems. Now, that's a name I've heard before. They're involved in, well, irrigation, right?
That's right. And with the growing concerns about water scarcity.
Especially here in India, that's a huge issue.
Absolutely. Jane Irrigation's focus on efficient irrigation technologies.
Yeah.
It's becoming increasingly relevant.
So they're well positioned to benefit from that global push for sustainable agriculture. What's Bagadia's buy recommendation for this one?
He recommends buying at 73.93.
73.93, all right.
With a stop loss at 71.
Okay.
And a target price of 79.
Right, so another solid potential gain there. Now, before we move on, I have to ask, are there any risks associated with these picks that our listeners should be aware of?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that any investment carries inherent risks.
Absolutely.
Market conditions can shift really quickly.
Yeah.
And unexpected events, those can definitely impact a company's performance.
For sure. So for these specific picks, what are some of those potential risks?
So let's take Lloyd's Engineering Works, for example.
Yeah.
While they are benefiting from the renewable energy boom,
Right.
they could be affected by changes in government policies
Of course, yeah.
or even the availability of raw materials.
That's always a risk with manufacturing.
Exactly. And with NACL Industries expanding into new markets like they are,
Yeah,
they might run into some unforeseen challenges.
makes sense. What about Jane irrigation systems?
Well, their business,
Uh-huh.
it can be impacted by things like weather patterns.
Oh, yeah, of course. Rain, drought, all that.
Exactly. And also fluctuations in agricultural commodity prices.
Right. So a lot of factors to consider.
It's always crucial to do your own research
Absolutely.
and really think about all these different factors before making any investment decisions.
Couldn't agree more. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Right.
And diversify that portfolio to manage risk.
That's a great point.
Okay, so we've talked about specific stock picks. Let's zoom out a bit and look at some broader market trends that our listeners should be aware of. The source mentions something called a price-volume breakout. What is that?
Imagine a surfer catching a wave.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The wave is the stock price rising,
Right.
and the surfer is that increased trading volume that's pushing it forward.
So it's like the stock is gaining momentum
Yeah.
and attracting a lot of attention.
Exactly. And this surge in volume, it often indicates strong investor interest,
Okay.
and it can signal the potential for further price appreciation.
So it's a good sign. Are there any companies mentioned in the source that are riding this breakout wave?
Absolutely. 3 companies stand out. We have Ramkrishna Forgings Ltd.,
Okay.
Tata Consultancy Services Ltd., which is TCS,
Or TCS.
and Renaissance Global Ltd.
Renaissance Global. Okay, let's start with Ramkrishna Forgings. What kind of numbers are we seeing?
Ramkrishna Forgings had a huge trading volume today.
Yeah.
It reached 1.93 crore shares.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And where's the stock trading at right now?
It's currently trading at 959.
959. How does that compare to yesterday's close?
That's a 6.12% increase from yesterday's close.
Wow, that's a pretty significant jump.
Yeah.
What's driving this surge in Ramkrishna Forgings' stock price?
They're a leading supplier of forged components.
Rich components, okay.
And they supply to all sorts of industries,
Oh, wow.
automotive, industrial machinery,
Got it.
and more.
So they're benefiting from that global economic recovery.
Exactly. Increased demand for their products is fueling their growth.
And how have they been performing over, say, the past year?
Well, from its 52-week low, it's up 59.29%.
Wow, so this stock has been on a roll.
It has, and it recently hit a 52-week high of 164.05.
Okay, so it's got room to run potentially. What about its market capitalization?
It currently stands at 17,344.86 crore.
All right, so a significant player in the market. Now, what about Tata Consultancy Services, TCS? What's their breakout story looking like?
TCS also saw a big jump in trading volume today.
How big?
78.94 lakh shares were traded.
Okay, and where are they trading at right now?
The stock is currently trading at 4,265,
4,265, all right.
and that's a 5.60% increase from yesterday's close.
Solid gains. And TCS, they're a much larger company, right?
Much larger. TCS is a giant in the Indian IT sector.
So how does their market cap compare to the Ramkrishna Forgings?
Well, TCS has a market capitalization of 51,174 crore.
Wow, so more than double the size. And what's their 52-week high?
It sits at 4,592.25.
Okay, so another company with some potential upside there. Now, you mentioned earlier that Renaissance Global is a real head-turner. Why is that?
Well, it's what's known as a multi-bagger.
A multi-bagger. Okay, explain that to our listeners who might not be familiar with the term.
It means that it's delivered returns multiple times the initial investment.
So if you invested 100 a year ago,
Yeah,
you'd have like 200, 300 now.
even more. Since its 52-week low,
Okay.
Renaissance Global has gained a whopping 104.86%.
104.86%. That's insane. Tell me more about this company. What are they doing right?
They're a leading player in the diamond and jewelry business.
Diamonds and jewelry. Okay. That's a global market.
Exactly. They have a strong global presence,
Where are their main markets?
particularly in the United States.
Okay, so tapping into that luxury market.
And the rising demand for luxury goods,
Yeah.
that's a big part of their success.
Coupled with their efficient operations, I'm guessing?
You got it.
Okay, so their trading volume today, was that part of this breakout?
It was. It reached 20.59 lakh shares today.
So that confirms that strong price volume breakout.
Right.
What about their market capitalization?
Their market cap is 1,927.22 crore.
All right, so a smaller company compared to TCS, but with huge potential. Renaissance Global definitely sounds like a company worth keeping an eye on. So we've got 3 companies exhibiting these strong price volume breakout patterns.
Yes.
Ramakrishna Forgings, Ltd.
Yep.
Tata Consultancy Services, Ltd. And Renaissance Global, Ltd. It's interesting to see such diverse companies all experiencing this kind of upward momentum.
And actually, the source, it lists 6 stocks with strong positive breakouts.
6. So we've only covered 3. You mentioned 3 others earlier.
Yeah.
Can you remind our listeners what those were?
Yes, of course. So in addition to the 3 we've already talked about, we also have Narika Ltd.
Narika Ltd, okay.
Mazda Ltd. And Anand Rathi Wealth Ltd.
Anand Rathi Wealth Ltd. Got it. So listeners, if any of those names pique your interest, definitely add them to your research list. Always exciting to see companies defying the odds.
Yeah.
Especially when the overall market sentiment is a bit shaky like it is right now.
And speaking of market sentiment,
yeah,
it's worth reminding our listeners about Sumit Bagadia,
the analyst whose stock picks we've been discussing.
Exactly. He did express some caution about the broader market.
That's true. But haven't we seen analysts be overly cautious in the past? I mean, sometimes they miss out on potential gains, right?
That's a good point.
So maybe this dip,
yeah,
maybe it actually presents a buying opportunity.
For those who are willing to take on a bit more risk.
Exactly.
That's certainly a valid perspective. It's all about finding that balance between risk and potential reward.
Couldn't agree more. And that's why it's so important to do your own research.
Absolutely.
Carefully consider your investment goals,
yes,
your risk tolerance,
right,
all of that.
Make informed decisions.
Exactly. So much great info here, Nexa. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
My pleasure. And remember, everyone, this deep dive is purely for educational purposes.
Absolutely. This is not financial advice.
Definitely not. Always consult with a qualified financial advisor if needed.
Yeah.
And remember to invest responsibly.
Words to live by, Nexa. This has been a fascinating look at the Indian stock market.
It has.
And I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
We have. And I think it's a good place to pause our deep dive for now.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From market trends to specific stock picks.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive into the Indian stock market,
where we'll explore.
Well, let's keep that a surprise, shall we?
All right, I like it.
A little suspense to keep our listeners on the edge of their seats.
Definitely.
So for now, if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like to my channel for more insightful episodes.
We've got some fascinating topics lined up.
We do, and we can't wait to share them with you.
Yeah.
And remember, yes, there's always more to learn.
More to discover.
And more to explore.
Indeed.
Well said, Nexa. Until next time, keep those minds curious.
And those portfolios diversified.
That's right. VK signing off, folks. Catch you later.
See you next time.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we went to that imaginary break, we were talking about those 6 companies exhibiting strong price volume breakouts.
Right, the stocks making waves, catching the eyes of savvy investors.
You said it. We already dug into the details of Ramakrishna Forgings, TCS, and Renaissance Global.
We did. So what about those other 3 companies, the ones we haven't discussed yet?
Yeah, the source also lists Narika Ltd, Mazda Ltd, and Anand Rathi Wealth Ltd. as having those strong positive breakouts.
Got it. Narika Ltd, Mazda Ltd, and Anand Rathi Wealth Limited.
But before we move on, I think it's important to circle back to Bagadia's caution about the overall market.
Good point. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of potential gains and forget about the bigger picture. Like, what are the underlying market trends? Exactly. So as we talked about before, Bagadia suggested that the Nifty 50 could potentially dip further.
Yeah, a little concerning, but maybe this dip actually presents a buying opportunity.
For those who are willing to take on a bit more risk, you mean?
Right. High risk, high reward.
Well, it's all about finding the right balance, isn't it?
It is. And that's where a well-diversified portfolio comes in. It helps you navigate those market fluctuations.
Absolutely.
So should we shift gears back to those 3 companies we haven't discussed yet?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Listeners, if any of those names, Narika Ltd, Mazda Ltd, or And Rathi Wealth Ltd, pique your interest, definitely add them to your research list.
I always encourage people to diversify their research.
Makes sense.
Now, to wrap up this part of our deep dive, I just want to remind everyone that this is purely for educational purposes.
Of course, always.
The information we've discussed should not be considered financial advice.
Right. Always do your own research.
Consult a qualified financial advisor if needed. And most importantly, invest responsibly. It's really important to remember that investing always comes with risks. There's no guaranteed path to success.
That's what makes it so exciting, right?
You got it. The thrill of the chase, the potential for rewards, and that constant need to learn and adapt. Those are the things that keep investors coming back for more.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's exactly what we aim to provide here at the Deep Dive.
It is.
A chance to explore, learn, and gain new perspectives on the topics that matter most to you.
Whether it's the intricacies of the stock market or the latest developments in AI.
We're here to guide you through it all.
Exactly.
So if you've enjoyed our deep dive into the Indian stock market today,
Be sure to like
and subscribe to my channel for more insightful episodes.
We've got some fascinating topics lined up.
We do.
We can't wait to share them with you.
And remember,
Yes.
there's always more to learn
More to discover.
and more to explore.
Well said.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep those minds curious.
And those portfolios diversified.
That's right, Nexa. VK signing off, folks. Catch you later.
See you next time.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before we went to our imaginary break, we were talking about those 6 companies exhibiting strong price-volume breakouts. We already dug into the details of Ramkrishna Forgings, TCS, and Renaissance Global.
That's right. We were just about to delve into those other 3.
Narika Ltd., Mazda Ltd., and Anand Rathi Wealth Ltd. Listeners, if any of those names pique your interest, definitely add them to your research list, especially now, while the overall market sentiment is a bit, well, shaky.
Shaky is one word for it.
But hey, even in a volatile market, there are always opportunities, right?
Always. And remember, as Bagadia pointed out, this dip might actually present a buying opportunity.
True. For those with a bit of a higher risk tolerance, of course.
Right. Exactly. Risk and reward, always 2 sides of the same coin. A well-diversified portfolio is key.
Absolutely. Helps you navigate those market fluctuations. Next, you've done a fantastic job guiding us through all these market insights. Any final pearls of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Just a reminder that this deep dive is purely for educational purposes. The information we've discussed should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own thorough research. Consult with a qualified financial advisor if needed, and most importantly, invest responsibly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Investing, it always comes with risks. There's no guaranteed path to success.
That's true.
But that's what makes it so exciting, isn't it? The thrill of the chase, the potential for those rewards, and that constant need to learn and adapt.
I think that's a big part of the appeal, yeah. That's what keeps investors coming back for more.
Exactly. And that's what we aim to provide here at the Deep Dive, a chance to explore, learn, and gain new perspectives on the topics that matter most to you. Whether it's the stock market or AI or anything in between, we're here to help you navigate it all.
Guide you through those complexities, empower you with knowledge.
So if you enjoyed today's deep dive into the Indian stock market, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more insightful episodes. We've got some fascinating topics lined up, and we can't wait to share them with you.
There's always more to learn, more to discover, and more to explore.
That's right. Keep those minds curious and those portfolios diversified. VK signing off, folks. Catch you later.